Hey guys, Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com. Absolutely beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona. So hope you're having a fabulous day. Anyways, so I got a question that came in that said, how are you able to close deals virtually over the phone? What is the process? How do you do it? So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 4-step process that we use to close deals from Phoenix all across the entire country. We've got deals in California, we've got deals in Vegas, we got deals in Pennsylvania, we got deals in Cleveland, we got deals in Columbus, we got deals all across the entire country that are going right now. But there is a 4-step process that you can use to be able to convert deals over the phone. So here's the 4 steps. The first one is the deep dive, right? Second thing is we're going to do the set. The third thing is the research and preparing the DocuSign. And the fourth thing is the close and overcoming objections. So let's go through them real quick. So first off, we have the deep dive. Now, in the deep dive, this is where a lead comes in and you're talking to a seller. We're going to do a deep dive with them. And initially, we want to build rapport with the seller. We have to get a seller to like us and trust us. And if we get them to like us and trust us, then they're going to want to do business with us. We just don't want to go right into the condition and the price and all that type of stuff. We want to actually build a level of rapport with that seller. Now, once you build a level of rapport through that process, we want to find the magic problem. What is the major problem? What is the reason they're selling? Is there an impending event? Is there a default situation, tax default situation? Is there pending foreclosure? Is there some sort of distress that's happening with an impending event? Now, here's the thing. For when it comes to actually the close, your conversion percentage increases dramatically if you can solve the problem with your offer. So whatever that problem might be, you want to make it hassle-free for that seller. If you can solve that problem, then you can get that deal done and get it signed and get it closed. So now we built rapport. We're listening for the magic problem. We got 2 more things in this call. We want to find the first asking price. That first asking price. So you ask the seller, so let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller, what would you like to get for the property? And they say, okay, $200,000. Okay, great. And so great, let's get into the property and tell me a little bit about it and how long you've owned it and, the square footage and how many bed and bath and when was the last time the roof was updated and, they haven't been updated since 1970. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller, what do you think it would cost to get the roof updated? Obviously, you're in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm in Phoenix. What do you think the roof would cost if you're just going to put a ballpark number at it? And they go, well, $10,000. Make sure you write that number down. And they say, let me ask you a question. When was the last time the heating and cooling system was updated? Oh, that hasn't been updated in 1970. Say, great, Mr. Seller. What do you think it would cost, since you're there, to update the heating and cooling? I don't know what it would be. Say, great, but if you're going to just put a ballpark, what do you think it might be? Just so I have an idea. Obviously we're going to verify it, but it would be good to know so I have an understanding of what type of condition or what we have to do to the property. And then bam, gives a number, right? Let's call it $5,000, right? And then you can go and say, listen, when was the last time the kitchen was updated? Wow, it's been updated since 1973. Great. So boom, then you can go through and what you're establishing over the phone and you're doing it with the seller and you want the seller to name the number, not you. And whatever number they name, you can write that down. And you're establishing what's called a repair sheet. So you want to ask about the roof, about the heating and cooling, and about the electrical system, about the plumbing, about the condition of the kitchen, condition of the bathrooms, condition of the flooring, right? Condition of the exterior, condition of the landscaping. Those are all big ticket items that will help you build a repair sheet virtually by using the seller's numbers. So let's say our Mr. Seller here that's in Columbus, Ohio, has a house in 1973. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, whatever. And we're talking to him and we now have built a $15,000 for the $10,000 for the roof, $5,000 for the AC. And we continue going and we end up and we have a $30,000 budget that he gave us numbers for, right? Well, guess what? We can use that to help us establish our second offer price or a second price from a seller. So now we talk to the seller and say, listen, Mr. Seller, thank you for giving me all the information. Greatly appreciate it. Definitely helps. But so here's the question. So let's say we were going to pay all cash and we are going to pay no commissions and you didn't have any to worry about any hassle whatsoever. You didn't have to fix the property. You get to pick your move out date and we would take the $30,000 of repairs. What is the absolute lowest minimal acceptable offer you would take on this property? And this is a net number that's going to you. Now that's the second offer price. That's the not offer price, it's acceptance price that they would like to get for the property. You got the first one, you got the second one, and that one should be significantly lower than the first one. So now that is the deep dive. That's what we're doing. That's where a lot of the work happens, right in that deep dive. The next thing we want to do is now we've got that second number. So now he went from 200,000, let's call it down to 170, right? Taking repairs, now he has to pay commissions and closing costs or fees. Bam, now we got a 170 number. What do we do there? Now we do what's called the set. Say, great, Mr. Seller, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to look in the computer, I'm going to talk to my underwriter, I'm going to talk to my finance guy, I'm going to talk to my partner, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to do research on the property. I want to spend a little time and find out what the absolute most amount I can offer you on this property. So, and then you're going to set a time. Could you be on the phone here in the next 15 to 20 minutes? Can you be on the phone back here in 30 minutes? Can you be on the phone? And what you're going to do is you're going to set a time with the seller. The sooner, the better. Now, give yourself at least 15, 20, 30 minutes to gather the information so you can structure the offer. So now, boom, let's say you set the appointment 30 minutes from now. So now you've got a deep dive, you've got the information, you got their 175. Now you do their research on the property and you're looking for the three lowest of the low comparable properties that have sold in the area. Let's say the lowest of the lows is 150. Right, so now you're going to be down at a 140 number, 130 number to be able to make your offer and make your numbers work, so you can hit your profit margins and be able to sell that property. But he's a 170, you're now at 130. That's a significant number. So what do? Well, guess what? You have the set. Right? And you set the point, then you get back and you do your research. You're looking for the three lowest comps in the area. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to talk to the seller. That's the appointment. And in that time period, as you're gathering the three lowest comps in the area, you're preparing your DocuSign, preparing for them to sign that specific deal. You're preparing for it. When you prepare for something, there's power in preparation. So you prepare for your success. People say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to waste the time doing that. What? You're not expecting to get a contract? I expect to get a contract. So I'm preparing a contract and I'm going to negotiate and get that deal done, right? So now you prepare the contract, then you get them on the phone and now you make your offer, right? And say, hey, listen, I talked to my underwriter, talked to my business partner. We looked at the comparable sales on the property, what's happening here and the amount of work that needs to be done. You know what? Our highest and best offer is going to be $132,500 for the property. Make sure it's not a specific number. I mean, not a round number, but a specific number. So we can offer $132,500. And they're either A, going to say, yes, great, I can do it. But you're going to, or they're going to say, I want to think about it. And this is where the objection annihilation method comes in hand. Because now what you've done is you've made you've done your set. Now you're going into the close price. You've done your research. You've done the set, done the research. Now you're into the closing process. What's going to happen 99% of the time is they're going to give an objection. I want to think about it. I got to talk to someone about it. I've got a higher offer. And our ability now is to come over and overcome those objections. So I have what's called the objection annihilation method. It's the 16 top objections that you'll get and you can overcome. I'll do those in another video. But the bottom line is you want to overcome that objection, right? And ask them, specifically, ask your question, Mr. Seller, what specifically would you like to think about? Is it me? Is it the process we talked about? Is it the contract that we went through when we talked about, or is it the price? So during this closing process, you're going to send them an email with the DocuSign, and you're going to go through the contract specifically with them as you're going through that process, and you're going to reveal your offer within the contract, and the contract's going to be there. And then you're going to say, great, when would you like to close? This is an alternate choice close. Would you like to close on Friday, or would you like to close on Monday. Which would you prefer? And now you're just going through the contract. You have your offer at 132.5. You're going to say, when would you like to close? You'd like to close Friday or Monday. That's an alternate choice close. And then either A, they're going to say, well, let's close on Friday. Bam, get them to sign it right there on the spot. You got the deal signed. Or what's going to happen is they're going to hit you up with an objection. That's when we box the objection. So what we said, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you want to think about? Is it me? Is it the contract? Is it the process, or is it the price? Then they go, majority of the time it's the price. And they say, well, you're at 132.5, I'm at 175. I just can't let it go for that cheap. And now it becomes a negotiation. It might go into a follow-up sequence, right? It might go into say, listen, I would make them justify the 175. I say, listen, I showed you comps at 150. Right, and then you have significant repairs. How are you coming up with that number? That's a retail number. I mean, that's where the property's all fixed up, and make them really think and justify their offer. And more times than not, sellers will come down off their price. So either it's going to be done right there, or it's going to be done where it's through a follow-up process. So that is the virtual wholesaling process. If you want to learn more, go to Flip2Freedom.com, Flip2Freedom.com. Listen to my podcast. Got tons of videos out there, obviously on Instagram right here. TikTok, we're on TikTok. If you go down to Flip2Freedom.com, you can download my book. It's an amazing book. You'll love it. So talk to you soon. Have a phenomenal, amazing day. God bless.